We are revisiting this Soundesign 8193 TV. I did a video on this about 5 years ago, and the original title of it and the information provided in the video wasn't exactly 100%. And I'm not going to put out false information on this, so we're redoing this TV. Plus, there are some updates to it. And what do I mean by information provided? Well, it has a Chunghwa picture tube in it, and Chunghwa is known for making arcade monitor chassis and CRTs in Taiwan, okay? But somebody pointed out something to me, and I've since taken the video down because I wanted to redo it. So forgive me, I don't remember who left the comment, but they were absolutely correct. I did some digging, and this TV is actually an Orion, made in Taiwan, but not all of them were made in Taiwan. Some were made in Japan as well. Montgomery Ward also has these identical TVs. Like this one. This is also an 86 Montgomery Ward TV that's identical to this one, but it's silver and has a square picture tube, untinted picture tube with the tinted glass in front. This was the first example that I could find on eBay as a perfect reference. This is the same TV but a 13-inch version, and it's under Montgomery Ward, but this one's from December 1984. One thing you'll see, observe the remote control here, because you'll see it coming up later in the video, but this TV is identical, other than it has the round speaker on the side, and the back is almost identical to that of the 19-inch version. December of 84. So they ran this particular TV for a few years. And you'll see these controls coming up later in the video, but they'll be identical. And that remote too. And this is another odd variant. This is a 13-inch TV with a square picture tube, untinted with a tinted glass in front, but otherwise identical controls here. Observe the on-screen display. That will be identical too. And there's the controls. Now this one here, it's just the angle they took it at. It looks kind of weird, but this one is the same TV, Montgomery Ward, but this one is from 1984, early 84, I should say. I was about to say 1983 because it's an 83 to 84 model. It's basically the same exact TV minus the on-screen display and timer functions. This has a little LED display, and I'm saying this because this is the one that really helped identify it as Orion. When you get to the back here, this TV does have line level AV inputs as well. You can kind of see them right there, but right here, A7R. A7R is all you need to know to identify the manufacturer, and there you go, Orion Electric Company Limited, Japan. During this time frame, Orion had both Japan facilities and Taiwanese facilities. This is before the Thailand facility opened up, and I believe that was around 1989. So here's the Wikipedia article on Orion Electric. Unfortunately, they are now defunct as of 2019, but it is a Japanese company. Most of the TVs I'm showing, the Soundesigns and the Montgomery Wards, almost all of them were made in Taiwan, except for that one I just showed with the weird slanted control panel. Made in Japan, but it's the same TV. The story is, back in, I don't know, like 2014 or so, we were at the thrift store and I saw this Soundesign TV here. It's the same TV as the 19-inch, but it's the 13-inch variant. I'm kicking myself now for not picking it up. And it had this identical control panel, same AV inputs and everything. This one example here is from 1985. So again, they ran this TV model for a few years. But yeah, this is the 13-inch version of it that I saw at the thrift store, and I am kicking myself for not picking it up. And there's the back of it with the same AV inputs and back panel. So we're going to back up. 5 years ago, this TV was on Craigslist for free, working. And it was, Soundesign. I thought it would be a cheap TV I'd pick up just to play with it. And it turns out I was completely surprised by it. Apparently, I got it off of the original owner. It looked like it's been sitting in a damp basement for many years, maybe a decade. It was probably used into the 2000s at least, but this TV was filthy when I got it and full of scuffs and everything. Now it's pretty much mint without the box after I got done with it, except it's missing the cover up front. I have pictures of those Montgomery Ward TVs that actually have them intact, but without having it in person to, say, replicate it, it's going to be very hard to get everything exact. We have a 3D resin printer, so it'll look good, but I'm not going to keep printing it over and over again until I get it right. So yes, I got it home that night, and I turned it on. I was really, first of all, surprised at the full controls up front, which we'll go over, but also the on-screen display. I'm like, wow, this thing looks really nice, but the picture quality was fantastic. I can't find any other info on it. It's an 86 model, but what stores carried it? I remember in the early 90s looking at some universal remote codes. I remember seeing a Soundesign TV remote code. I'm thinking, when did Soundesign offer TVs that weren't little 5-inch black and white sets, I figured this would be like a cheap, AOC TV or something, but no. And this also proves this is like the polar opposite of the Orion we know from later on, the 90s onward. The build quality on this is excellent. It has a very well laid out chassis, and the power supply is on its own separate board. So real quick, one of the things I wanted to do was take it apart and take the metal speaker grill out and repaint it, because it had a dent in it, and it was paint was obviously marked off of it. But as you can see now, it is like brand new. So what are the updates to this TV? Well, first one is all these remote controls. This took a while to obtain, but if you're wondering why do I have 3 of them, this was the first one I got. It's blue in color. And really, that's the only difference between these 3 remotes is the color. But here's what I can't figure out. As you saw, I showed the 13-inch version of this TV I would have seen at the thrift store. It too has the red color scheme. So what TV did this blue remote go to? Anyways, this remote's separated because this is now a parts remote. It does work, but it's missing the lens here, and the battery compartment had corrosion, and this spring I tried to add, but it also kind of messed up the case. So this one is a parts unit for the other 2. And what I mean by that is this one had the lens, this one didn't, and this one here that I picked up recently, the rubber was messed up on the 5, so I went from this remote to that remote. So I'm just still wondering, what does this blue remote go to? Anyways, why I have 3, I mean, yes, one is parts, but that wasn't the case initially. I highly doubted I was going to find a remote for this TV. This one showed up on eBay first, but again, it was in bad shape. But it did work, and I used it with this TV for a while. Then last year, the remote this TV's supposed to have showed up on eBay, and I got it, but it was missing the lens. Now that lens is installed. And then, within the past month, this one showed up on eBay. Actually, I shouldn't say it showed up on eBay. I've been watching it, had it in my watch list for like a year. I just went and got it because, this one's became a parts unit. Make a good one. These 2 are good remotes, so I have a red one and a blue one. But the remotes are pretty fully featured. Power. Recall is the last channel you were on. It would go back to it. Mute, display, sleep timer. volume, keypad 0 through 9, and channel scan up and down. When I look on eBay again, I get the service manual for it. As rare as this TV is, what are the odds? I mean, really? UHF channels 14 through 83, not the 69, and cable TV channels 1 through 64 and 95 through 99. So it has full schematics and everything. I had to do nothing to this TV. And when I checked over things, other than needing a slight grayscale touch-up, everything's dead on where it needs to be. I didn't even touch the vertical height or anything. Layout of all the adjustments. And then this goes through the description of all the circuits, including even how the clock indication and channel indication work, and in full detail. That's the type of stuff I like to look at. All expected waveforms, parts, full exploded view. Oh, it looks like it was even supposed to come with an antenna. Even replacement parts for the remote controls. And it was even printed in the USA. That video I did on the Zenith H 1955W, that hotel motel TV, that was actually my first TV, link in the upper right. Well, that TV, the Zenith took the place of this TV in the retro media room, so I'm going to be locating this TV elsewhere. So back up, let's, and I also did some minor adjustments and tweaks to it. And now forgive me, I tore it all down first. We'll go step by step upon reassembly because it's just the reverse of disassembly. Because taking this apart was a little more difficult, and why I didn't do it the first time. First of all, the screw for the power supply that holds it in requires a really long screwdriver, which I didn't have at the time. I had to reach all the way down in here to get this to slide out. But last time I didn't have that long of a screwdriver, which means I couldn't get access to the speaker, which means I couldn't get access to the speaker grill. So now that's been taken care of, and the reason why is it had a big old dent in the corner, which I tried to get out the best I could. But our goal here is to repaint this and put it back in. But this is also good because it allowed me to clean in behind the speaker grill where I couldn't get to. And I just wiped out the bottom of the chassis as well. I'm very OCD when it comes to proper restoration of things, even though this thing worked as is, you know, but anything, if I go back to 70s, 60s, and 50s era or older sets, I got to do this. Got to make it perfect. And here is the speaker grill repainted by Harley Badger. Perfect. So now we're going to try to put it back in. I was able to finally clean in behind the speaker grill because it was actually dirty in behind there, and put a coat of Novus on it because that's just what I do. And there's the speaker grill back in place. No glue this time, just folding it up. The tabs around like it's supposed to. It doesn't need glue except for this one here, because that tab, because of the glue and trying to get it off, it broke off. So it's in there, and just put some hot glue on it, let it seep in, it'll hold it in place. So if in the future, if I ever have to take it out, it won't be a problem to do so. Shouldn't have to though, it's going to remain mint for the rest of its life. Okay, putting the speaker back in. As you can see, it doesn't use the mounting holes on there. It uses these brackets attached to these posts here, so we're going to do that now. As well as there's a little grounding strap piece that connects up this little guy here, and I'll show how that goes on in a moment. I was trying to figure out this piece here. It's a grounding strap, obviously. And I see what's happening. You see where I'm pointing with the screwdriver right here? That's a bare piece of aluminum from the front panel. And that's for grounding purposes, obviously. And down here I had to scrape off the paint of the freshly painted speaker grill because it also makes contact right here. So it grounds the speaker grill and grounds the plate on the front. And if you look at the other tabs that are folded over, like right here, that's still painted black. So that's what that's doing. You connect ground from the CRT strap to the speaker, itself. Then it connects to that to ground the front grill and the other decorative piece up front. Yeah, this one took a little bit of effort. I wanted to make sure we had good ground continuity between everything. And of course we got it here on the speaker all the way to this aluminum piece. It's hard to see, but I'm not touching that piece. I'm touching the actual front panel. And I'm going to touch the speaker grill on the very outside. So that's all grounded now. And also observe, even this has its own little connector to ground the front piece where all the controls are too, because it's also aluminum. And here's a close-up of the power supply board. It's all original and everything works fine. And the heat sink for the voltage regulator. Alright, now we just slide it all on in until it stops. And I got to put that screw in the very bottom, in the back there, which is not in the very, very back there, which is going to be hard to see. Alright, here's the main board. I just re-cleaned all the controls. It was mainly the power button. You'd press it and it would bounce, basically, and turn itself right back off. So that's fixed. But in addition, the little piece you see right here was broken off. And while this piece was attached to the button, it was floating basically, so it just didn't feel secure. Now it's in place, and now this button feels really solid when you press it. It doesn't even move around now, but it does go in. So that's fine. So that's the front panel, and a standby LED and remote sensor. But as you see, this board is very well laid out. All original parts, nothing abnormal about its operation. It's very well laid out. And this is the audio amplifier back there. Looks like that's your vertical. And that, of course, would be your horizontal. For example, the automatic picture control adjustment in the middle of your screen. I could probably eyeball it, see what it does on the screen, but it gives a voltage value on a test point. I like to see how that's set. There's your horizontal oscillator / horizontal hold control. I'm not going to touch that. It's actually perfect where it's at. We even have a sub brightness control right here. SD adjustment, I'm not sure on what that is. And that's really it. I mean, there's your standard focus and screen controls, which I oddly glued in place, but they're actually perfect where they're at. I'm not sure what this control does. We'll look that up as well. And there's your vertical size control sandwiched in there. And it even has a TV or service mode switch. Oh, now time to start plugging everything back in. Let's see. Yeah, this guy here. All right, it's under there. We're connected. And it has this little nice thing to keep it off the picture tube. Power supply plugs in here. I need 2 hands for that because it's in the middle of the board. I don't want to bend the board while doing it. And let's see, degaussing coil. It's going to plug in. Degaussing coil plugs in right here. yoke. It's going to plug in right there. See, this is the ground strap, and there should be a pin on this board. All right, and ground strap plugs in there. And of course the audio is going to plug in right there. Yeah, there's the cathodes glowing from the heaters. Because I'm putting on the Sencor CR7000 to see how we do. Everything's set up. No G1 shorts. No heater to cathode shorts. So it's going in the cutoff. So it's not 100%, but it's pretty close. The guy that had it probably used it for many, many years, from the mid-80s probably to the mid to late 90s or so, maybe later. I mean, these tubes like these were still pretty much indestructible. Let's see what the emission life has to say. Now it falls quickly. Well, it fell kind of quickly, but it's also still in the green. So it's definitely not a mint CRT, but it's still a very good one once it's warmed up. All right, that potentiometer way up front that I said I didn't know what it does, it stands for scanning control, VR102. And that one controls the automatic channel scanning right here. Obviously that doesn't need adjustment, so that's good. Yeah, right now the TV is in service mode. I redid Grayscale on it. It's not out of focus, it's focusing on the reflection, not the line. Sometimes TV manufacturers do this. I mean, in a lot of cases, it's obvious. You turn down your red, green, and blue cutoff or your bias adjustments, and then you turn your screen up till you get a dim line, and then it'll probably be one of the colors, red, green, or blue, most likely green, sometimes red, and then you just adjust the other two colors to obtain a dim white line. In this TV's case, it's a little different. You don't turn all three all the way down. The green bias control needs to be set for 165 volts DC. I know it's a little dark in here, but that's because I'm working kind of in a dimly lit room, so I could do this. With off the red and blue all the way down, I have it set for precisely 165 volts. That's not green all the way down. Then instructions say turn your screen control, which I can't do because it's glued, and I'm not breaking it, but I adjusted it for 165 volts and it was a perfectly dim green line, right where it needs to be. Then I just turned up the red and blue, which kind of brought the voltage down by, you know, a little bit like that. But when I first had this on, this was 161 volts and the dim line was way too bright. So, but yes, my point of this is some manufacturers have different setup procedures than what you might think. I know those and the lights turned on. Now, before I flip this, I just want to say, even though I adjusted for 165 volts, the dimly lit green line shows me that the screen control, your G2 control, is right where it needs to be anyhow. So yeah, it definitely needed some adjustment because now it seems to have more contrast to it. And that's important. That's why you have to get grayscale pretty much close as you can to good, perfect, because it's blanking because it's so bright. But yeah, if you don't do it quite right, you'll have won't get as good of a contrast range as you should. Dynamic range, I guess you could say. But yeah, so basically the screen, the G2 control is right where it needs to be. And so hence, even though it's glued in place, it's fine. The focus is right where it needs to be. But now that I did this, the picture looks even better than it did before. Perfect. In addition to a bonus speaker grill not being messed up. And the power switch being fixed. Like I say, it worked before, but it was just floaty. And it bounced whenever you pressed the button because it needed cleaned. I'm done. I'm putting it back together. This is great. And the power cord comes out the bottom, like so. And lastly, let's try to clean the tinted glass. There, untinted picture tube. But that's what that other ground piece is for. This piece here is actually aluminum too. That strip's aluminum. This is aluminum. Speaker's metal. I guess aluminum as well. But this will be my first time taking this off in 5 years. It's not that bad. Now those are not attached to the glass, so be careful about that. Looking good. And there's the new freshly painted speaker grill. No longer have a huge dent right here and paint missing. Okay, and now that we're back, it obviously has the handles on it. And as you saw, the glass comes off. You can clean it behind it. It's an untinted picture tube with a tinted glass. Now, when it comes to vintage televisions, I prefer the untinted glass. It's much brighter, and I don't know, it just looks better than having a tinted glass on it and having a tinted tube. But this is kind of like an in-between thing, because it's early 80s stuff. Tinted tubes were still a new thing, so if you didn't have a tinted tube, you put tinted glass in front. But this is like a monitor-style TV. But you come down to the front, and you see this thing is very fully featured. I mean, channel, volume, manual fine-tuning in addition to automatic fine-tuning. And then it has a sleep timer, an off timer, an on timer, a clock. It does do cable TV, auto and manual scanning. Now the way that works, and I'll show it, in manual it'll just go up channel by channel, but if you turn it on to automatic, it'll actually scan through the channels until the next available channel is active, then it'll stop there. So what this means is this TV does not have a programmable tuner, but it is direct access, and you just use this to, and otherwise you just skip over with these buttons here. And what makes this even more special is it has line level AV inputs and outputs. For an early 80s set, that was not very uncommon at the time. I mean, this thing's pretty much fully loaded. And automatic color, which locks in the color and tint. You can't adjust it. And of course, potentiometers for color, tint, contrast, brightness, sharpness, and vertical hold. And being a monitor style set, it has a red LED for standby and Remocon eye, which is just a remote sensor. Speaker, but that's this TV's only weak point. It does go loud, but it's just, look how small that speaker is, so you kind of know how it's going to sound. It's an ironic or unironic being a Soundesign. And a headphone jack. The 13-inch models of this set had 3 or 4-inch round speakers instead of an oval speaker like this. But in the back, it did have twin lead UHF, VHF, and 75 ohm coax for cable TV and your VHF channels. There's your nameplate information. And it actually is a nameplate because it's made of aluminum as well. June of '86. And you can even access your drive and cutoff controls from the rear. In addition to your focus and screen controls, which are unfortunately glued in place, but they're right where they need to be. And your AV inputs and outputs. So, while we are sitting here, you can turn it on. Your standby light will go out. Now, without a signal in on the line level inputs, it's a gray screen. It's not black. If you were to put it into the tuner mode, and it's one thing I will say about this TV, it produces yellows very different. Like it's yellow, not like an orangish yellow. It has to do with the color processing. But I like it. It's very nice. I don't know what to say. I don't know, it handles the image very well. There's very little color bleeding or anything. Now, one thing I want to show is I did not try this, but you see, I have the my Sencore VG91 connected to it, and the tuner auto manual switch. I also discovered that is also how you disable automatic fine tuning. I'm going to press the AFT test button and hold it on the Sencore. Now watch what it does. You see, and I'll release it, push it. That's going the other way. Now, I'm showing you that because right now I can go and press fine tuning and I can fine tune this thing. So in addition to how it scans channels, it also does the fine tuning. See, when I watch, I'll put it back on auto. Bam. Now automatic fine tuning is engaged. Now, some interesting things. It's in cable TV mode. If I take it out, the channel number is yellow and the clock is green. With it in auto mode, this is what it'll do. It'll just scan your channels. It'll just scan it until it finds the next available channel, which it's not going to. So it's in cable TV mode, automatic, it's going down. I have it entered on channel 55 on the Sencore, so it should pick it up shortly. Oops, it picked it up one channel too early. There we go. What's nice about this Sencore is I can feed it a composite signal and output it on any channel I want. So I can test tuners and everything that way too. So, in cable TV mode, it scans just like that. We'll put this back on channel 3. So yeah, as for other color bars, let's see, we got that. Excellent. Grayscale. Absolutely perfect. That's really good convergence too. So yeah, again, pretty fully featured for the early 80s, even though this is an 86 model, you know, dates back 2 years. There's your sleep timer. And then that, you go 5 minutes and off. So I'm going to set the clock first. You press and hold clock and press hour. And it does AM and PM. And sorry for the blanking. Yeah, even for an early 80s set, the on-screen display is really nice looking. Okay, so it's 7:57 p.m. And as mentioned, you can do on time or off time. I can set it for, I don't know, 8 p.m. Off time at 8:01. All right. And I flick the timer switch on and we'll power the TV off. Hence having the standby light, because you can have timers. Again, that was not a very common feature on early 80s TVs at all. There we go, 8 o'clock. I have the remote here. I'm going to press display. See what it does. When you press display on the remote, it leaves the on-screen display on until you press it again. I kind of like that, you know. So we're going to see what happens at 8:01. Does it show 8:01 first and this goes down, or does it immediately turn off? This is my first time doing this on this TV. I never used the timers before on this. And that's what it does. And it'll do that every day as long as you have the timer switch on. We're going to turn it back off. Press power. Let it warm back up. Now let's see how it does a sleep timer. Sleep is only done on a remote, not on the front panel. So 90-minute timer. 5 minutes. Now press display and keep it on. So let's just say this guy used this TV up until the mid to late 90s. Even it could have went into the 2000s. That just goes to show you how good these picture tubes are. The fact that it still shows near 100%. It's not 100%, but it still looks perfect. And the fact that your G2 and focus controls are still dead on right where they need to be. And that is a 5-minute sleep timer right there. Use the remote control. Turn it back on. Tube was still a little bit warm. Volume controls, do not put any on-screen display up. It just increases or decreases the volume. And of course, direct access tuning. I mean, I can punch in channel 56, go there. This is cable TV mode. I can punch in 95, it'll go there. If I try to put an invalid in, it'll just bounce right back. 03, there we go. Right now it is in automatic, so automatic fine tuning is engaged and auto scanning is engaged. So yeah, I mean, for early 80s, and this is the remote, I mean, this remote was pretty full-featured then. Now on to other things. Automatic color. If you turn it off, I'll just show what it does. Like, here's the color control. I can turn it, you know, intensity down or intensity up till it's way overdriven. Or I can mess the tint up like this. If I press auto color in, so it's basically a default values for color and tint. Of course, your sharpness control and vertical. So that covers pretty much all the functions on the TV. I want to do something. Okay, so we know Orion, the brand here, we didn't get Orion branded products until the 90s when they developed their subsidiary here. But Emerson VCRs, VHS VCRs were, the original ones were made by Orion and a couple were made by Mitsubishi in '86. But I have a 1985 Emerson portable I'm going to hook to this TV right here, right now. Just because, you know, Orion and Orion. We'll use the line level AV inputs to do so. So this is an Orion product from 1985. Quite different than the Orion units we're used to. This has a mechanical tape counter. This is a portable unit. It can run off batteries or AC or car. 2-speed recording, 3-speed playback, membrane buttons in that early 80s. I don't know, I like this right here. I did a video on this, as I mentioned. We're just going to use the line level inputs on the side here, and there's your camera input. This is the first video I've ever recorded with this unit, so press play. So this is the true first recording of this Emerson VCP 700 OEM'd by Orion, which was now surprising. Granted, the video camera, it came with that Konica, was low end for 85. So, but it has that look to it, that tube camera look to it. Was there a model on here? CV301. Skuro. I've made too much pasta live. And this was local. Damn, this was 2019 already. Jeez. Another interesting quirk is, even though it's in line in mode, it'll still display the tuner, and you can still operate the tuner while you're in line in mode. Change the tape real quick here, so. Rewind. So there, an Orion made TV with an Orion made VCR. The VCR is made in Japan. TV was made in Taiwan, which like I said, I learned Orion did have a plant in Taiwan at that time. Very fascinating. But yeah, this TV works very, very well. Yep, solenoid operated and everything. And it was good. So power off. And power off. So, back in 1986, it is very likely this TV may have been paired with an original Nintendo Entertainment System. Super Mario Brothers. See those AV cables coming out the side? Those are original to my NES. I have everything from my NES except for the box. That didn't start occurring until the Super Nintendo era onward, where I managed to keep every single box for every peripheral, game, etc. My only gripe is this TV has a bit of overscan, as you can see, but the thing is, if I shrink the picture, it's going to be too wide. Then it'll be stretched too wide. As you saw with the test patterns, I have it a perfect circle on there. Unfortunately, there's no horizontal width adjustment. That's really what it could use, but that's my only complaint. So there's a bit of overscan, chopping off the top of the screen for the proper image. And I didn't even adjust vertical size on this set. This is it was still perfect 40 years later almost from the factory. Turbo was on the NES Advantage. I'm not playing for real, but I'm just moving through it rather quickly. I also have the contrast reduced on the TV so the camera can pick it up without blanking it as easily. I like using it. When I first got this back in the day, I always used to have to go on the side of the screen and go. Yeah, this NES Advantage I got Christmas of '89. This Nintendo and Mario Brothers game are from October 14th, 1989. I mentioned this in previous videos, but I like talking about it again because it's relevant. Minus World, here we come. Yes, the Minus World. Yes, I turned the turbo on for swimming. I think the one on the Famicom version could access even more minus levels. But yes, this TV makes an excellent monitor for video games and, hell, at the time, computers. This TV handles video games very well. Infinite loop. I'm going to put in another game right now. It would be 4 years newer than this game, 3 years newer than the TV. I've been on a big kick for lately. It has a kick-ass soundtrack, and it's one of the hardest Nintendo games on the platform, hence Nintendo Hard. Let's do it. Yeah, I played this in at one friend's house in early 1990, and I wanted to get it for myself. I just want to let the intro play because it's a kick-ass intro. You know, while this game was loosely based on the '89 Batman movie, it's still one of the best games on the console. There we go. Another fantastic cutscenes. I still had the turbo turned on from when I was playing Mario Brothers and took the jump. Yeah, on the NES, I've always played it with the NES Advantage. It's just it's 2 buttons and everything. It's a very comfortable controller to use. This is where, in my opinion, music's just getting better and better. Every time I hear it, this gives me goosebumps. And still very likely could have been in use. Playing this, I don't know. I don't know what the previous owner used it for, but it's good to fantasize. You know what's funny though? I got this game on clearance. If you remember when this game came out, it was like almost $100 because of the Super FX chip. In 1994, just a year later, this game only cost me $30 and I got off my allowance money.
Good luck. Emergency, 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 emergency. Incoming enemy fighters. Prepare for launch.
Damn it.
Welcome to training mode.
This game has a kick-ass soundtrack
Let's
too.
practice the basics.
I got this copy in 1998. It would have been Christmas in 98. And I bought it for my own money. So I actually have the soundtrack for this on CD. I mean, an actual official CD, along with Mario Kart and Super Mario 64.
Corneria, fourth planet of the Lilat system. The evil Andros turned this once thriving system into a wasteland of near extinction. General Pepper of the Cornerian Army was successful in exiling this maniacal scientist to the barren, deserted planet Venom.
Oh dear, I don't even know what
5
time
years
it
later,
is, but
General Pepper noticed strange activity coming from Venom. James McLeod, Pigma Dangar, and
Seems
Peppy
8
Hare
o'clock
of the
by now.
Star Fox team were sent to
that's what the
investigate.
on-screen display looks like
Upon their
over
arrival,
top.
Pigma betrayed the team, and James and Peppy were captured
Like
by
I said, I can
Andros.
press display and
Peppy
leave it on the whole
barely
time.
escaped Venom and returned home to tell James' son, Fox, about his father's fate. A few years had passed. Andros has again invaded the Lilat system. General Pepper has turned to a new Star Fox team, headed by Fox McCloud, to save Corneria and free the Lilat system once again.
And I guess on that note, that concludes this demonstration on the Soundesign TV from 1986, made by Orion, with a Chunghwa picture tube and a very fine TV. And I got the proper remote for it now, as well as an extra remote plus a parts unit remote and the service manual. So, thanks for watching. Oh, come on! But hey, I got a 1-up. Oh, that was the main line.